Okay, guys, we are back and we are bougie. We are doing good. We're doing absolutely great. We are nailing this shit. Okay, now we're gonna get started. Okay, my lovelies, here we are. Welcome to my second video, and just finished my introduction. You guys can go and you can check it. That was a little slow, but we are trying to build up a pace from here. So I'm gonna be more authentic here. I'm gonna be more myself. Okay, all right. So we are going into these things. Okay, so what we are talking about here? We are talking about inner alignment. Okay, so when we're talking about inner alignment, we're talking about two things here. We're talking about your ego, and we are talking about yourself, and we are talking about the relationship between these two entities essentially. Okay, so what is your ego? Okay, um let's go through this anecdote to understand this in a better way. I'll take myself through it. I'm gonna subject myself through an example so you guys can understand that what I'm really talking about here is ego and self conflict and inner alignment basically. तो देखो क्या होता है ना, दो चीज़ें होती है, एक तुम्हारी ईगो होती है, एक तुम्हारी सेल्फ होती है बेसिकली, ठीक है. एंड ईगो इज़ दैट वन थिंग which is a kind of a center, right? This is what you are in the world, okay? It's like a center जो कि दुनिया में ऑपरेट करती है. And what you are is something else basically. What you are is a whole bunch of things. You are your emotions, you are your thoughts, but उनका एक center होता है, right? Which is just functioning in the world, right? When you're interacting with someone, you are not acting as whole. तुम you have your emotions, but the emotions are back there, and there is something else which is interacting with other people. Okay, so you are not always very vulnerable to everyone. Okay, so everyone you talk to, they don't know what you're going through. So what is acting right now? This agent which is acting in the world, which you think of as yourself, right? It's your ego. Okay, what does it do? Oftentimes when you're reading books and stuff, what they tell you that ego is a bad entity and you should get rid of ego. जब भी तुम when you're reading some kind of a spiritual text, okay, this is when they'll tell you that you'll have to drop your ego. But this is not something to be dropped. It is like your hand. You can't drop your hand. If you drop your hand, you're gonna be like someone who is paralyzed basically. It is a useful tool. So just like that, ego is a useful tool which you can use in word. So this is what your ego is. And now we are going to understand yourself. So what is yourself? Okay, self is something that you actually are. Okay, now understand this thing. जो दुनिया में तुम दिखाते हो basically, that this is what you are, this is not actually what you are, but this is what you project yourself to be. Okay, which I was talking about earlier, ego. Okay, and what you are is a total different thing altogether. So this is why most of the time when you are speaking to someone, you feel like ठीक है, मेरी से बात तो हो रही है, this person, I'm speaking to this person, but this person doesn't know me. You are speaking to that person because it's just your ego which is interacting to the person. It is not yourself which is interacting to the person. तो हमेशा क्या होता है, देर इज गोइंग टू बी अ बैरियर, ओके, बिटवीन योर ईगो एंड योर सेल्फ. जो ईगो होती है, इट्स अ फंक्शनिंग सेंटर, वो दुनिया में वर्क कर रही है, ठीक है. बट डीप डाउन इनसाइड ऐसा होता है ना, यू एक्सपेक्ट कि मैं बात तो सबसे करता हूँ, आई हैव टू मच रिलेशनशिप्स, बट देर इज नो वन हु एक्चुअली नोज मी, राइट. सो वट यू आर एसेंशियली सेइंग कि हाँ ठीक है, मैं अपने ईगो से ऑपरेट तो करता हूँ दुनिया में, बट देर इज नो वन बेसिकली हु इज फेमिलियर विद मी, राइट, हु नोज माई सेल्फ दैट this is what actually I am. Okay, so the distinction between your ego, okay, and self, this is what we are trying to understand. Earlier what we were talking about, the functioning center, okay, that's your ego. ये वो चीज़ जो तुम दुनिया में दिखा रहे हो, बट असल में you are not that. Okay, and then self, what you are actually. So I think we are clear about the distinction here. Now I'm going to explain you the relationship between the self and ego. अब यूजुअली कन्फ्लिक्ट क्या होता है ना, ठीक है, कन्फ्लिक्ट इज दोज टू सेंटर, ईगो एंड योर सेल्फ. कभी कभी क्या होता है, तुम दुनिया में अपनी ईगो लेके जा रहे हो, ठीक है, यू आर इंटरेक्टिंग विद पीपल, बट तुम्हें क्या लगता है कि जो मैं ये दिखा रहा हूँ बेसिकली, ओके, दुनिया में, दिस इज़ नॉट मी. Okay, this is often why people burn out. This is often why people tend to feel very fed up from the roles that they're doing, in anything, okay, in your job or maybe in your relationship. Okay, after a point of time क्या होता है, अगर तुम्हारी सेल्फ और ईगो, ठीक है, अलाइन नहीं हो रही आपस में, so you will feel a tension, okay, and this is not external tension. This is a tension that you experience within yourself. अब जब भी यूजुअली क्या होता है, whenever this tension arises, typically दो चीज़ें हो रही होती है, ठीक है. Let's take an instance of your relationship. Try to understand it. What happens usually when you're going through a relationship? तब ये चीज़ कैसे मैनिफेस्ट होती है, एंड देन ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड मोर इन द कॉर्पोरेट सिनेरियोज दैट यू आर डूइंग राइट प्रोफेशनली. So basically, when you're in a relationship and the relationship between the self and the ego is not very stable, right? तो तुम्हें क्या लगता है, ठीक है, मैं रिलेशनशिप में पार्टिसिपेट तो कर रहा हूँ, बट जो मेरा पार्टनर असल में वो मेरे को जानता नहीं है, राइट? वो मेरे बारे में कुछ समझता नहीं है. दैट पर्सन डजंट नो anything about me. So what you feel is, now you feel this inner friction within yourself, okay? This is something which makes you feel like, okay, now I want to kind of get out of this relationship. Okay, I'm participating in the relationship, but now I don't feel like that, this relationship is something where I belong, okay? असल में कुछ नहीं हो रहा. जो पार्टनर माइट बी द सेम, ओके, ही माइट बी एक्टिंग द सेम, एंड ही माइट बी वंडरिंग और शी माइट बी वंडरिंग कि why are you feeling fed up or why you are feeling distant. But what's actually changing is it's your relationship, and the friction have started arising between yourself and your ego. अब ये फ्रिक्शन जब भी अराइज होगी, इवन इन द टर्म्स ऑफ एनीथिंग, ओके, तो वहाँ पे क्या होगा, एक डिसअलाइनमेंट हो जाएगा, ठीक है. तुम चीज़ें कर तो रहे हो, ओके, यू आर डूइंग थिंग्स, ओके, यू आर वर्किंग इन अ रिलेशनशिप, a functional relationship or a functional job, but अंदर से ना something this telling you, which is yourself, okay, that I don't want to do this thing. Now if you continue to do those things, okay, which your self is telling you not to, you will start feeling numb, you will start feeling depressed, and you will start feeling a lot of other things. It manifests into very very bad forms, okay. So it's very important that after a point of time you get to hear yourself, and this is where the ego starts withdrawing. Usually what you call as depression or what you refer to as depression is that only. अब वो ego है ना जो तुम्हारी, it is not functional in the world anymore. It wants to withdraw. Sometimes it even crumbles, okay, when you are ending up in bad circumstances. This usually happens when you are not listening to yourself, okay. So it is very important to be receptive and to understand what your self want. जब भी इनके बीच में फ्रिक्शन होगी ना, you might even wonder that why this happening to me. My relationship is very perfect, okay, or my job is very perfect, but again the alignment is not happening, and this is yourself telling you, okay, I don't want to be a part of this, okay, I want to get out of this. Something may not be wrong with your job or something may not be wrong with your relationship, but you will still end up feeling this thing, and this is very strong, okay. Someone may not understand this thing, but this is what your inner truth looks like, okay. This may not be real to someone, but this is something which is very very real to you. And this is where the alignment starts happening. Once there is friction, only then there is alignment, okay. And you know what's wonderful about this, when you go through this journey, okay, where your ego firstly crumbles, and usually happening, again, like I told you, you are not feeling connected to the things that you are doing, okay. You are doing it, your ego is performing those roles, but yourself has said, okay, I don't want to do these things, okay, I don't want to be a part of these things anymore. Now what you'll do, see, so here ego does two things. Either ego refine itself, okay, वो अपने पास विड्रॉ करती है, इट कम बैक टू सेल्फ, ओके, इट राइजेस, ओके, दिस इज नॉट समथिंग आई वांट टू डू, okay, this is not something I want to be. It hear itself, okay, it understand, okay, ये मैं नहीं करना चाहता, and then comes the understanding that what you actually want to do, and this is where the alignment starts happening, okay. Now you listen to yourself, but there are few ramifications when this alignment is happening. Actually, see, you are coming close to yourself. Internally, once this thing happen, when this alignment happens, you will feel very connected to your actions, okay. You will feel more real, you will feel more honest, but the ramification is a lot of people will dislike you while you are going through the process, okay. And you have to understand this thing. The social truth is, in relationships, in corporates, you will only get liked when you are being controlled by the other entity. जब तक अगला बंदा या फिर सामने वाला पर्सन तुम्हें कंट्रोल कर पा रहा है और अपनी अथॉरिटी तुम्हारे ऊपर असर्ट कर पा रहा है, only till then you are being liked by the other person. If you stopped being controlled by the other person, in relationship or in corporate, what will usually happen, the person will start disliking you, okay, and in certain ways they will start telling you that, okay, I am annoyed from you, I don't like you anymore. They're going to tell you things that you are changing, you are not the same person anymore. And exactly when you are hearing these things, remember that you are heading to the right path, okay. Now your ego is not catering to the structures or to the people. Now it wants to do something about yourself, and that's the whole point, okay. And this is where the alignment start beginning. Now what will happen usually when you come back to yourself, okay, the ego is not basically obeying to these other people, it wants to hear what you want to do. And this is when the truth comes out. And when these things happen, there is a strong contingency that people are not going to like you that much, but definitely you are going to find yourself in more meaningful situations, more meaningful relationships, and more meaningful scenarios in your life. So this is what happens when the alignment between self and ego gets very stable, and this is the inner tension that you experience when the ego and self are misaligned. Okay, so I think the distinction is very clear. Okay, and we'll finish this video today. This was about it. I'm keeping it very short. I hope it would have helped you in some way, and perhaps I'm going to do another video where we can even interact more, and I can tell you more interesting anecdotes and kind of, circle into more about myself and a lot of things basically. All right, adios.